How many nights have you lain next to someone and still felt alone? How many times have you caught yourself trying to fix something that seems to break more with each attempt? It's hard to admit, but sometimes love doesn't end all at once. It dies slowly, in the unspoken words, in the cold embraces, in the silences that scream louder than any argument. And then comes the painful doubt. Is it still worth persisting? Or am I just clinging to the idea of an us that no longer exists? Perhaps you're experiencing exactly this right now, lost between the fear of giving up and the hope that things will return to how they were before. But what if I told you there is a right moment to stop? A moment when continuing is no longer love, it's self-betrayal. Stay with me until the end of this video, because in the last few minutes, I'm going to reveal what almost no one has the courage to say. The true turning point. That instant when you should no longer look back. Many relationships reach this critical moment, don't they? That point where heart and mind wage a silent battle. You feel something is wrong, but you keep waiting for a miracle that seems never to arrive. I see this happen every day. People who are intelligent, strong, and capable in other areas of life suddenly find themselves paralyzed when it comes to deciding whether to stay or leave a relationship that no longer nourishes them. It's as if there's an invisible contract preventing us from seeing the truth. Perhaps because the truth hurts too much. Think about the signs you've been ignoring. That butterfly feeling in your stomach that has transformed into a weight on your chest. The deep conversations that are now just superficial exchanges about what to eat for dinner or who will pay the next bill. Do you remember the last time you truly laughed with this person? Not that polite laugh, but that sincere chuckle that comes from the depths of your soul. When was the last time you looked into each other's eyes and felt that inexplicable connection? The silence between you used to be comfortable. Now it's just empty. And there you are, revisiting old memories, as if you could extract from them some strength to continue. Looking at photos from happier times, trying to believe those smiles can return. But there's a question you need to ask yourself, and it's possibly the most important question you'll ask. Am I in love with the person who is with me today, or with the person I met in the past? Because they are two different people. Time transforms all of us. What many experts don't tell you is that love isn't just a feeling, it's a daily choice. And this choice needs to be made by both sides. When only one is choosing to stay, it's no longer a relationship. It's a self-imposed prison. Have you ever noticed how your body reacts when this person enters the room? Pay attention. Your body knows before your mind admits it. Do you tense up, breathe deeper, as if preparing for battle, or simply feel nothing anymore? These physical reactions are important signs that we usually ignore in the name of what we call love. And make no mistake, staying out of fear of loneliness is one of the loneliest decisions you can make. Because there is no greater loneliness than being next to someone and feeling completely alone. Recent research shows that people who remain in unsatisfying relationships for long periods develop not just emotional problems, but physical ones too. The chronic stress of a worn-out relationship can affect your immune system, your blood pressure, even your life expectancy. This reminds me of Mariana's story. She spent 8 years trying to save a relationship that had actually ended in the 5th year. I thought I was investing in our future, she told me. But in reality, I was mortgaging my present. When she finally found the courage to move forward, she discovered something surprising. Life after the end wasn't as scary as she had imagined. It was liberating. There's an interesting phenomenon that happens when we finally accept the end of a cycle. Psychologists call it post-traumatic growth, that moment when, after the initial pain of separation, many people discover internal resources they didn't even know they possessed. But I know what you're thinking now. What if I regret it? What if it's just a difficult phase that all couples go through? It's a valid concern. After all, no relationship is perfect all the time. They all face ups and downs. The central question isn't whether problems exist, because they always will, but whether both people are genuinely committed to solving them together. Think about the conversations you've already tried to have, the promises of change, the moments of reconciliation that seemed to indicate a new beginning, but soon returned to the same pattern. Psychologist John Gottman, after studying thousands of couples for decades, identified what he calls the four horsemen of the apocalypse in a relationship: constant criticism, defensiveness, contempt, and stonewalling, when a partner simply shuts down and refuses to communicate. When these four elements are consistently present, they are clear signs that the relationship is at serious risk. Do you recognize any of these patterns in your current relationship? And here's another crucial point that we rarely discuss. True love shouldn't diminish your self-esteem or make you question your worth. If you constantly feel smaller, inadequate, or not loved enough, that's not love. It's emotional toxicity. Many people remain in dead relationships because of their children. I'm staying for my kids, they say. But think carefully. What relationship model are you showing them? Children are extremely perceptive. They sense the tension, absorb the unhappiness, and worse, learn that this is the model of love they should seek in the future. The uncomfortable truth is that sometimes separating is the most loving act you can do, both for yourself and for your children. Now, let's talk about something few people admit: the fear of judgment. How many times have you thought, what will they say if I give up? The social pressure to maintain a relationship, even when it no longer works, is immense, as if ending it were a failure rather than a courageous decision to seek something better. This fear of what others will think has kept countless people trapped in relationships that should have ended long ago. And there's also the emotional investment. The more time you spend in a relationship, the harder it seems to give up on it. Psychologists call this the sunk cost fallacy, the tendency to continue with something just because we've already invested so much time, energy, or resources in it. But think about it. You won't recover the time already lost by continuing in something that no longer works. Some people stay out of a distorted sense of loyalty, as if leaving were a betrayal. But the greatest betrayal you can commit is against yourself, when you deny your own happiness in the name of a promise made under circumstances that no longer exist. You deserve more than emotional crumbs. You deserve a love that is complete, reciprocal, nourishing. And here's another painful but necessary aspect to recognize. Sometimes the end of a relationship isn't a failure. It's exactly what should happen. Some relationships weren't made to last forever. Some were made to teach us, to transform us, to prepare us for something better. Perhaps the problem isn't that the relationship ended. Perhaps the problem is believing it needed to be eternal, to be valuable. What few have the courage to say is that the end can also be a gift, a new beginning, a second chance to find the happiness you deserve. Now, as we approach the end of this video, let's get to the point I promised to reveal, the true sign that it's time to move on. Many experts will talk about external signs: betrayal, abuse, incompatibility. And yes, these are valid reasons to end a relationship. But there is an even more powerful, internal, and infallible sign: when hope becomes denial. When you realize you're no longer hoping for real change, but merely denying the reality of what your relationship has become. There is a subtle, almost imperceptible moment when your heart already knows the truth, but your mind still makes excuses. It's when you go from "maybe things can improve" to "I need to believe things will improve because I can't face the alternative." It's at this exact moment that continuing is no longer an act of love or perseverance. It's self-deception. Psychotherapist Esther Perel, one of the world's leading relationship experts, says something profound about this. The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. When you reach the point of no longer feeling anger, frustration, or hurt, just a vast indifference, it's because your heart has already said goodbye, even if your mind hasn't accepted it yet. This is the true turning point, the moment when you need to honor what has already ended. And you know what's most surprising? After this recognition, after accepting the end, many people report an immediate sense of peace, as if an enormous weight had been lifted from their shoulders. Because living in truth, however painful it may be, is infinitely lighter than living in denial. Life after the end of a relationship can seem frightening. The unknown always is. But think of all the times in your life when you were afraid of the unknown, and then discovered you were just at the doorstep of something wonderful. You are stronger than you imagine, more complete than you believe, and you deserve a love that reflects that, not one that diminishes it. So, if you're in this limbo, in this painful doubt between staying and leaving, ask yourself this question: if I could go back in time and advise the person I was at the beginning of this relationship, what would I tell them now? The answer usually brings the clarity you're seeking, because in the end, true love shouldn't be a prison from which we're afraid to escape. It should be a space for growth, shared joy, mutual evolution. And if that's not what you have now, perhaps the most courageous and loving act you can do for yourself and for the other person is to recognize that the time has come to say goodbye. The true happy ending isn't always staying together. Sometimes it's having the courage to move forward, to be grateful for what was, and to make space for what could be. You deserve a love that doesn't need constant fixing, a love that flows, that nourishes, that celebrates who you are, not one that requires you to diminish yourself to fit into it. This is the moment to choose yourself, to recognize your worth, to understand that being alone is infinitely better than being in bad company. And remember, the end of a relationship is not the end of your love story. It's just the end of a chapter. There is much more to be written, and you, only you, have the power to decide what the next one will be like. If this video resonated with you in some way, share it with someone who might need to hear these words. Sometimes all we need to make a difficult decision is to know that we are not alone in our pain, that others have gone through the same and found light on the other side. Take care of yourself. And remember, choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's the first step toward an authentic and fulfilling life.